This is a lesson to get you started on your work standard assignments. So these are going to be assignments that you do that will be graded for completion. And there are actually just three of them, um, two with quadratic applications and one with a review of linear systems. They will not be on the final exam. Um, Maybe a little bit of the quadratic applications, but not very much, maybe one problem. So you need to just finish these and I will grade them based on completion. So there's going to be four videos, two on the linear systems review, and you see the calculators over here that you can use. This one is going to be on the first quadratic application assignment, which is just dealing with word problems that produce a quadratic. So I'm going to use this template to do my work on the few problems that I'm going to show, and I want you to do the first 21. Okay, so as you set them up, they will produce a quadratic, and then you need to solve the quadratic, throw out any negative answers, and then take the positive solution and answer the question. So, without further ado, we will start. You can use this template paper. It is on the learning plan. You can print it out or just use notebook paper. But at any rate, you need to show me the quadratic and then your work to solve it. So this template paper has some things that you can use. So the equation of what the independent and dependent variables stand for, a rectangle diagram, a possible graph that you might have to draw, a triangle diagram, which we won't use. But this is just good to use so that you kind of see the structure of how these work. Notice the consecutive integers and then consecutive even or odd integer expressions at the bottom here. So we'll be using those in particular word problems. All right, so here we go. Problem one I'm going to do. So the length of a rectangle is 2 times its width. The area of the rectangle is 72 square inches. Find the dimensions of the rectangle. So I'm going to start by rewriting this problem because I did not do it correctly. You might want to, if you have this paper, just go through and number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 21. So the length of a rectangle is 2 times its width. So I'll call the width this here and the length this. And so the area is 72 square inches. So you're going to multiply these together. So you saw I had x times x plus 2, which was incorrect, and that equals 72. And then you're just going to go and kind of take everything to one side. And then you want to literally solve this equal to 0. So our app, our Polysimul app, get ready to use it. You're going to need it. So the x is just simply the independent variable, and it's the length of, it's actually the width. And then y is the area of the rectangle. So you should get the vertex and the positive x-intercept. They're usually involved in the answer. And so in doing this, in solving this, okay, you can use the online calculator also, but I'm just going to use the Polysimul app. And let's see, we're going to have 2 and 0 and negative 72. So 6 and negative 6. And we're going to just pick the positive one. Now the vertex. So you can get the vertex. That's only going to be when they ask you for a maximum value of something. So it's not actually going to apply in these problems. But when we go to do the free fall physics problems, it's going to matter. So know how to get the vertex. This vertex would actually be 0, negative 72, which again makes no sense. We're just looking for the solution to this. So you're going to take everything to one side and solve it for x. So that means that this is 12 and 6. And so 12 by 6 is 72 square inches. And it says find the dimensions. You're also welcome to, do your work down here. That's probably what I should have shown. Really pretty simple. Again, do not worry about the vertex because none of these questions involve the vertex. Problem 4 is next. Okay, so the width of a rectangle is 11 inches less than the length. So we're looking like this. Find the dimensions if the area is 80 square inches. Equals 80. So there's your particular quadratic that you have to solve. So what this involves is simplifying that quadratic. So the y is the area again. Vertex we don't need to get. And so you need to just take everything to one side and go in and solve it. You're going to get a negative value and a positive value, and you're going to throw away the negative value. So 16 and negative 5. It doesn't make sense to say that you have a side length of negative 5. So 16 is x. And so it's looking like 16 by 5 is the dimensions. And so when you multiply those together, you get 80. And so you're just replacing that back in here for x. So 16 and then 16 minus 11. Pretty straightforward. I think you need to do a few of these problems to get the general idea. They're really pretty simple. Problem 9. So the length of a rectangle is 1 more than twice its width. Again, I'm calling that the length and that the width. And the area is 55 square feet. So that means we take the product equals 55. So you can just jump right down to here and do your work. Okay, and you can also fill this in. This is the width. Y is the area. Vertex we don't need. We want the positive x-intercept. It's good to fill all that in. Again, we don't need the vertex at all on these problems. When we get to the free fall physics, we will. So 2 and 1 and negative 5. So we have 55. Hello. I get for working too hard these days and just leave numbers out. So negative 55. So negative 5.5 and 5. We're going to throw out the negative 5.5 and use the 5. There's that wonderful little ad that's going to bother me all year. So 5 by 11, it looks like. And again, we are talking feet this time. And is 5 by 11 equal to 55? It is. Okay, problem 12 next. Some of these you can probably mentally do. So we have the product of two consecutive integers is 56. Well, that's 7 times 8. But I do want you to show your work. Okay, and it's just good to know how to do these when you can't. figure it out mentally. So come down here, take the product. There's none of the diagrams that you need to use on this. So you're going to get -8 and 7 on this when you do this. So we want to throw off the -8, and we're going to use the 7. So you want to answer the numbers. So x is 7, and then the next one is 8. And 7 times 8 is 56. So consecutive integers. So if it said consecutive odds or evens, you're going to use this list when you do the work. These problems are really pretty simple. I'm going to actually end with the harder ones here. So 16, the product of two consecutive integers, right here, is 3 less than, so that's got to come on the end, -3. 3 less than 3 times their sum. So their sum is x plus 1, which is 2x plus 1. Now we're doing 3 times that. So we have to come down here and set all this up and do lots of work. Take everything to one side. So this is a smaller integer again. And then y is just going to be the quadratic, which represents the problem. We'll call it the quadratic situation. Okay, so x squared plus x equals 6x plus 3 minus 3. So the 3's drop out. So we're going to have x squared minus 5x equals 0. So we're going to have 0 and 5. Now, it is possible and I made a mistake on the last problem. I finally realized that we could have used the negative. That's my mistake, so I'm going to go back there and correct that. So 0 and 5 are the 2, but you have to pick in succession. So 0 and 1, that's one set, and then 5 and 6 are the other set. So both of those work with this. Now I need to go back. I was not thinking. You don't throw the -8 away because the numbers can be negative here. So yes, we can use this. So -8 and -7. So there's 2 answers to this. You only throw it away when it's represents a length or something like that, when it cannot possibly be a negative, when it represents a real world type of situation. Okay, then the last one I want to do is problem 19. Again, you're responsible for the rest of these. So the product of two consecutive integers is 5 more than 3 times the larger. So the larger is x plus 1, and then 3 times 5 more than 3 times that. So the independent variable is x. This is the smaller integer. And again, if we get 2 answers, then we have to use both. And y is just the quadratic that evolves the quadratic situation. So sometimes y represents a very specific thing, and sometimes here it's just when you do all your work, take everything on one side, that's what it represents. So let's come down here, x plus 1 plus 5. Actually, we are going to get 2 answers that work with this. So that's 8. We're going to subtract 3x over, subtract 8 over. So there's the quadratic. And this is going to give 4 and -2. So we have 2 answers. So -2 and -1, because you add 1, and then 4 and 5. So you just take each of those, you come back up, you add one, and the answers are here that I've highlighted. Okay, so you do need to, in some way, shape, or form, show me the work. It's going to be required to get the credit. So you have the rest to do on this, and it will be a separate standard. All the grades on all these assignments will constitute a separate like quiz grade overall.